Are you concerned about recent news of geopolitical instability and conflict? Well, I certainly have been a bit. But in times like this, I consciously return to one simple principle, and that is really focusing on what I can control as opposed to what I cannot, such as the actions of others or world leaders or global events. I can, however, control myself, my studying of history, and to recognize recurring patterns where they are happening, and also, most importantly, to position myself accordingly. For me, in my view, it's all about preparation so that my family can weather periods of instability and uncertainty with more confidence and stability. And that is really why I found reading the books of Ray Dalio, as many of you know, he's the CEO and founder of Bridgewater Capital. His books are so helpful and they really resonate strongly with me. And most especially his last book, How Countries Go Broke. It's a bit of a tome, but the last chapter, especially, uh, it just sounds like you're reading the daily news headlines, but he actually anticipates and shows why all of this is part of a recurring pattern and why this is to be expected at such times. And that just helps to be able to look at the whole situation and to be able to predict and know more easily how to act. And what he really shows in his research is that the world has been in similar situations in many times before, over decades, more like centuries and even millennia, and that these similar patterns keep repeating over history. And one of the most consistent patterns to be aware of right now, in which Ray picks up on in his books and communication, is that all fiat currencies, that means a currency that is not linked to the price of gold, will lose their value relative to physical assets over time. So, for example, they will lose their value relative to the price of gold. And this happens slowly at first, so people barely notice, and then very quickly towards the end. And in fact, as he points out, there's no exception to this pattern in recorded history, and you can even find references to it in the Bible. So precious metals like gold, therefore, is experiencing a massive reset right now. And when you look at the chart, which you can see here, you'll be able to see how gold is has been flat before it was decoupled from the value of the US dollar, and gold was decoupled by Nixon. And then it has increased over times, and now most recently it's having a massive reset with all-time highs. And I believe that this could be seen as an indicator for where other tangible assets and commodities like property could go, as people will see that maybe the value of traditional stores of value will no longer be seen as safe. There will be a flight to safety. But just to be absolutely clear, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this should be seen as financial advice. I'm just sharing about my own perceptions, what I'm reading about, what I'm seeing, and what I'm doing. But I'm not a financial advisor, so do your own research and take financial advice. But this this is really why I am so passionate about property investing. Um, because as you know, property, it's a hard physical asset. You can touch it. It's not going to be inflated away by printing more money, and it retains its value, and it's given protection against currency debasement in the past. And you can see with this chart, which I'm showing you now, how in the 1970s, and this is from Ray Dalio's book, um, you can see how in the 1970s, most especially, most fiat currencies worldwide lost a massive amount of their purchasing power relative to the price of gold. And this is really what you can also see when you look at London property prices over a long term. As we know, in the 1970s, there was increased inflation. You can already see from the chart of gold that the gold prices increased then, but also property prices increased over that period and long term. And from January 1970, when this started, until today, the value of London property has 100-fold. And that is really something to think about. So the difference with property compared to gold, for example, is that it also generates rental income. And if you manage it properly and actively over time, according to the proper legislation where you can increase rents in a proper way, then it can hold its value also with inflation, that rental income. So this is where the beauty is, that property is not only something that can be safe and secure homes for yourself or your family members, but it can also be a service that you offer to others, safe housing, and also it can be safety and protection for investors, especially during times of inflation and, I believe, geopolitical uncertainty and risk. It's really a way to protect yourself and your assets over these periods. So, quite simply, if you're looking to buy London property for a long-term hold, I can help you and your family to make that property purchase more easy and more stress-free for you. So I quite simply believe that buying London property for a long-term hold can help you and your family to weather impending storms and to really prosper and to live well for many generations. Get in touch if you want to chat. Many thanks.